third time lucky for South African author Damon Galgut, who's won the prestigious Booker Prize for his novel The Promise. Described as gripping and a tour de force, the novel describes the decline of a South African family over 40 years, from the apartheid era to the present day. Galgut, who was previously nominated in 2003 and 2010, said he was profoundly, humbly grateful. Well, joining me now is Maya Jasanoff, Harvard professor and chair of judges for the Booker Prize jury this year. Thanks very much for coming on to Euronews tonight. Now, you're a historian. The Promise tells a historical story of South Africa's recent history. What makes it such a worthy winner?
You know, this is a book that we judges felt right from the outset was extraordinary for the way that it managed to really do everything that a good novel can do. It tells a fresh story, one that we hadn't heard before. It explores human relationships with incredible kind of insight and precision and creativity. It is literarily elegant and styled. Its prose is wonderful. Its structure is amazing. And as you've alluded to, it also doubles, in a sense, as a history of South Africa in the late decades of apartheid and the post-apartheid era. So it's a gripping read, it's an insightful read, and it's one that we really hope will reach a lot of readers worldwide.
And it was one of several books on the shortlist that deal with these historical themes.
That's right. You know, one thing that we noticed over our short list and long list, and really many of the books we read, is how many of them seem to be sensitive to the ways in which the present is dependent on the past, sometimes working through the legacies of the past. For example, the book that we had shortlisted called The Fortune Men deals with a historic miscarriage of justice. We had books that are dealing with the kind of complexities of our changing present. Patricia Lockwood's book, No One Is Talking About This, is a kind of amazing meditation on life in what she calls the portal, the internet of our age. And then there are books that were also kind of thinking about the relationship between the present and the future. So Richard Powers's book, Bewilderment, looks at the world in a moment of climate change and what the future might hold. So all of them, in one way or another, are really meditating on how our moment now is connected to the past and to the future.
And Damon Galgut, the third winner from South Africa, he paid tribute to African writers in accepting the prize. How strong, briefly if you can, is the contribution from Africa?
You know, I think that people have been noting that this is a great year for African literature in terms of how it's getting recognition. We saw the Nobel Prize recently go to Abdulrazak Gurnah from Tanzania. We saw just yesterday the Prix Goncourt go to a writer of African origin. We saw the International Booker Prize also go to a Francophone writer of West African origin. So lots of books from Africa on the radar this year. I think that it's important that we don't forget that Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent. It is full of diverse places, regions, voices, etc. And I think it's fantastic that we're seeing more and more of those getting this kind of recognition. And above all, I hope that this can help enrich the kind of publishing landscape so that these sorts of books are reaching readers in larger numbers to tell the many, many, many stories that, as Galgut himself said, the continent is there to share.
Maya Jasanoff, chair of the Booker Prize jury, thanks very much for joining us on Euronews tonight.